Well, when I was a little boy sitting on my mama.
Hello, my name is Marcie Sclove. Welcome to Going Deeper. My guest today is Shirley Jackson Whitaker. Shirley is a longtime resident of Amherst. We both got here in the late 80s, if that is considered longtime residence. And we're going to be talking about her work, both professionally and as a community activist, and also her wonderful artwork and some of her initiatives. This is going to be a two-part interview. So Shirley was brought up to be kind. And when she saw a problem, she tried to figure out a way to make it better, and a creative way most of the time. She's somebody who really gets things done, and we have seen some of her initiatives here in Amherst, which we will be talking about. She's an amazing painter and worked with the late Leonard Baskin, which is quite amazing that they had that time together. She's also a kidney specialist and works in the area as a renal specialist. So before just going on and on about her, I would like to welcome Shirley to the show and maybe just get started in our talking together.
Well, thank you. I think it's going to be fun.
Yeah, yeah. So I'd like to start with your childhood, sort of do the chronological thing, and your family life growing up. And I know that you're from Okefenokee Swamp.
Near the Okefenokee Swamp.
I love that name. Is that Native American?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
It's
I've been saying it all day.
Okefenokee.
Okefenokee.
Yeah, and it's the southern part of Georgia.
Yeah.
And one of the entrances is in Florida, so that means it straddles Georgia and Florida.
Okay.
So one entrance is from my hometown of
Yeah.
Waycross, which I claim to fame is Oscar Davis was from there.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
And that was nice.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
my grandmother knew his father and all that, and that was nice.
Oh my gosh.
So.
So let's set the stage. It's the late 50s, early 60s, and it's still segregation.
Yeah.
And southern Georgian town. So can you tell us a little bit about what that was like for you growing up?
Well, I think because you're segregated, you're in a predominantly black community. And whites will come in and they go out. They come in to get people to work. That was to sell you insurance, but it's like your antennas would go up when you knew they were around. Because I think it was a form of protection. You knew. I don't think my father set me down and said, you got to be careful of this. You just knew that there was someone to be leery of. But you knew how you had to learn to survive. I remember when I was going to go shopping, when I was adventuring out, I was 4 or 5, and my cousin was going to teach me. She said, now, I knew my alphabets. She says, now you may not know them all, but you need to know C, you need to know W. C was for colored, and W was for white.
Wow.
Because your life may depend on that.
Gosh.
You could go to the wrong water fountain. Somebody white could come and knock you out.
Wow. So you were 5 when you were taught that.
I think I had to be. I think I was 5. I don't. I didn't know. But I knew. I remember her saying A, B, C. So C. And but that was letting me know if I couldn't spell colored, I would see the C. I knew that was where I could go. That was the main thing to remember.
Yeah.
And W wasn't for you. Because someone had to let you know.
Oh, sure. No, that was a gift to be taught that.
My mother and father never told me. But I remember one time shopping with my mother. And I was holding to my mother's dress. and she would be shopping around. I always kept close. And I remember one time I was holding to the dress, and this white lady must have on the same dress as my mother. And she looked down, and I looked up, and we both screamed because I was holding on to her dress, because that's what I did with my mother. Oh. You know, you're small, and you just trot behind her. It's just little things you knew. Yeah. I knew that I had a way of understanding some things. No one, you know, like my mother always made me feel sad when she went to shop. And she would go, and some stores would not let her try on a hat unless she put a plastic bag on her head.
Oh my gosh.
But I remember there was one store, and there was an older man in there. His name was Mr. Jacobson. And he didn't make her put on a plastic bag. I didn't know how to tell her. I wanted her to go to that store because I didn't know how to, but I knew I liked going to that store because he didn't make her put a plastic bag on her head. And I knew that wasn't right. Yeah. She never said, you know, this is not right. No one ever told me, but I knew. I felt bad that she had to do that. And I wanted to be able to explain to her, don't go there. Go to this store, because he makes you feel like you're welcome to come in there, and he didn't make you put plastic bags on your head.
Right, right.
And I remember that. It's sort of funny how things I remembered that somehow I knew. So I may not have said, you know, I remember I used to play, I must have been 5 or 6 with the girl next door. She wasn't next door. There was a dirt road. All the blacks stayed on one side, and there was a dirt road, and there was whites on the opposite side. There was a house, and I had been playing with this little white girl. Oh God, we play all day. We played so hard. And I remember one day, her mother told me, said that you have to leave early because I can't explain to my family that's coming how I let my daughter play with a nigger. No one had told me what that word meant, but I knew it wasn't something nice. Yeah. And I remember walking away, and I knew I said to myself, she would never see me again. Yeah. I said, I'll never go to that house again. And I remember looking out of my mother's bedroom window, and the little girl the next day was standing there waiting for me to come. And I said, I'll never go back. Yeah. I never told my mother. I never told anyone, but I knew something she had said to me wasn't nice, and I would never go back.
You know what I love about these stories is that how you responded was out of a sense of strength and what was right and what was wrong, instead of it internalizing some horrible feeling about yourself. It didn't sort of digest in you that way.
Nope. Yeah. I just knew what she had said was a put down of me. Some way it wasn't right. My mother they never sat and said these words or explaining what they meant. I just knew it wasn't right. And it's just, I can look through my life and I knew that, you know, like one day, there used to be a place where a park we used to go to and play. South Georgia is hot. Yeah. Oh God, in the summer, hot and humid. And I remember one day we left the park, me and about 4 or 5 of my girlfriends, and we walked the railroad track, and we walked, and we saw the Dairy Queen. Oh God, the idea of some cold ice cream. Oh, so we ran, said, who's gonna get the first, you know, and who's last is a rotten egg or something. And so you're running hard to get there, already hot and sweaty, and we got there and we fell at the door. And I remember this white girl saying, we can't serve you here. And she told us to go to the side. Wow. Not me, I would not buy anything from Dairy Queen. To this day, when I see Dairy Queen, I think about that. Yeah. That they made us go to the side. You couldn't go to the front. She said, you have to go to the side. And I wouldn't go to the side. I stood back. And he said, you know, Shirley, you want to go buy something? I said, no, I'm not thirsty. I don't want anything. Yeah. So I had to walk from there about 4 miles home without any water, if anything. But I knew I wasn't going to go to the side. I just couldn't go to the side. And my friends went, and they got ice cream and stuff to drink. But I just knew I couldn't do that. Yeah. No one had told me not to do it. I just knew I couldn't do it. Right. And I would not go there.
So at what point did you want to start thinking that you wanted to be a doctor? And how did that come to be?
Well, when I was in, I think the 7th or 8th grade or something, I went to babysit for this doctor. He had 6 children. They were heathens. It was wild. And I wasn't accustomed to it, because my mother ran a tight ship.
Yeah, yeah.
And they had, in my hometown, that time, $50,000 home, had 4-car garage, they had, every child had their own bedroom, had 4 and 5 baths. It was a huge house. But they was demolishing this house. So I told them if they wanted something from me, they had to say please and thank you. I wasn't giving them nothing. I never said that when their parents was around, but I said, no, I'm not giving that to you. You know what to say to me if you want it. And I think the father was listening. He wasn't around. He's a physician. He wasn't around a lot. But one day I was in the kitchen, and the youngest one came in and said, I said, who do you want that from? You don't want it from me, because you don't know how to ask for anything.
Yeah.
And she said, please and thank you. And I sort of tried to put structure in that house. And he told me, for some reason, he never talked to me much, but he says, you're so bright, you should be a physician. You should be a doctor. And I'm sitting there saying, why does white man want me to be a doctor? Because in that thing of lyric, I'm sitting there saying, I just had no idea, no plans or anything. But I remember his oldest son told me that this physician father was a member of the Klan.
Wow.
And there's no way to confirm that.
So not the physician himself,
not the physician, but his father was a Klan member. I remember his oldest son saying that to me, and I'm sitting there saying, oh, Lord, here we go. Wow. But his son, when I would come home from college, he would tell my mother, make sure Shirley come to see me. I said, I am not going to see him. Because he would always say, if you ever go to medical school, I do all I can to help you. He said, because you really should be a doctor. And so it sort of planted the seed away, I think, in my mind.
Yeah.
And he told me, how to get scholarships. And he told me, when you get in medical school, at that time in the state of Georgia, there was a huge medical bookstore. And when I went to medical school, he opened an account there. And whatever I wanted to buy, any book, anything in that store, he said, send the bill to him.
So you had like a little guardian angel.
He was a really nice guy. He really, and I remember when he said, now when you go to your 3rd year, you're gonna need a black bag. Let me know now, let me know in time so I can have it for you. And I remember going to his office, I had told him, and when I went there to pick it up, there was a little area where the doctors would sit, and I was sitting in his office, and a drug rep came by, and he says, says something to the effect, how you gonna know what to do with that? I do not know where HK came from, but he came in there and he told him, he says, if she don't know how to work it, we'll teach her. He was so angry with him.
Yeah.
You didn't see him angry often. He's a very mild-mannered guy.
Yeah, but he really, he had your back, kind of. Yeah.
So he always, 4 years, and he really,
And
so
then,
I think that planted the seed, and then I went to a college where they sort of encouraged us to apply to medical school.
I
and
see.
I was sitting there saying, I don't know if I want to do this. I just think other things to do.
Yeah. So, but you did it. I mean, well, first you got your master's in public health
from Yale. Right.
And you were the first African-American woman, is that right?
I was the first African-American female in the Yale Glee Club.
In the Glee Club, but also in
epidemiology.
Okay.
Yeah, at public health at Yale.
In the public health.
And chronic disease.
And then also, were you the first black woman to graduate from Emory?
I think I was a second or third.
Second or third.
That's what
Yeah.
I was.
But you were
you
were sort of doing the kind of cutting edge thing.
Yeah.
And it's hard. It's hard to be in that.
I was the only black female in my graduation class.
Yeah.
And that meant I was by myself a lot, and that was
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah.
Because I think medical school is much easier. You have somebody to share it with,
Yeah.
and a female to share it
Absolutely.
with would be nice. But there was some
And-
people started with me, but they didn't finish with me. I
I
was by
see.
myself, so I was the only one
Wow.
in my class. There was a total of 3 African American that finished at Emory with me, and I was the largest class they ever had for women. When I was the biggest class they had at first, and I was the only black female to graduate in my
Yeah.
class. So that was tough.
Yeah, yeah. So, fast forwarding to Amherst in your professional life now, how is that going in terms of colleagues? And you're spending some of your week at the VA hospital,
Right.
But then the rest of your work, you're independent, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's is tough in a way because there are very few specialists that are by themselves. They're in big groups.
Yeah, they're in big groups.
Yeah, huge groups, and that makes it tough, makes it interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
But you know, in a way, it has some good parts to that. It's tough in the sense that you got to compete with so many people by yourself.
Yeah.
But sometimes I really just draw on the strength that there's some strengths in that, so I don't bemoan that.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I'm probably better off because I'm not used to people telling me what to do.
Right, exactly. Right. That's the plus side. You can make all the decisions.
Yeah, I want to do this. He said, my
I
personality.
know that
is
one.
okay.
Yeah, that's a good one. So I want to shift a little bit to some of these amazing initiatives that you've done. I just read recently about this declaration against violence to
Wow,
women
yeah.
in 1988.
Well, I started.
What was that?
Well, see, somehow I really got interested in violence, domestic violence, and I did this sketch, and it came out with the declaration and the sketch, and I did a proclamation, and it talked about whereas these women have been slaughtered, and in their lives, and that we as your family and loved ones stood by and watched this happen, and now basically saying they're changing. I did a sketch, and then I had tried to try to get an initiative going with that, and then I went and started doing other things.
Oh.
And then within the last 2 years, I went in my basement and I saw it again. I said, oh my God. And
Still relevant, that's for sure.
it's sad that it's
I
still
know.
relevant. So I took it and I had a pen made, and this guy, I go to the radio station in Springfield, Sunday morning, and there's a guy that come on after that, and we had said at the end of 2013, we're gonna see what we've done. Everybody would have done something. There's 3 of us. And I showed him this pen I had done, the declaration, the sketch, and he had just returned from Los Angeles showing a movie. They had flown him out there to show a movie he had done. And he says, what you gonna do with that? Now what you gonna do with it? And I said, I thought I'd done enough. So he told me, he says, I taught myself how to do movies in 5 years. If you do a documentary on that, I'd do it for you for free.
Oh, wow.
And I said, oh, Jesus, here we go.
Yeah.
And so since then, it has evolved to the point that we're gonna, the project will be called TIS, Indomitable Spirit. And
So TIS is the initials, the Indomitable Spirit.
yes.
Yeah.
And that's what I call the lady that's sketched. And we got Avery Sharp is going to do the music, and there's a choreographer from Atlanta who's worked with Alvin Ailey and with the Atlanta Ballet. He's going to do the dance. And it's evolved into...
Wow. So this was the beginning of this declaration against violence toward women turned into TIS.
Right.
Okay.
And so it's really... And, the thing about... I'm very visual. I have... So in setting up the scene for the musicians and the choreographer, I decided that it will all occur under house. The dance about the different ladies that have go through some form of domestic violence would be under a roof, because 60% of abuse occurs in the home.
Yeah.
So that's my staging. I mean, they may come and say, no way, but that's staging for me, is that 6% of abuse occurs under a roof. And so that's where the dances will happen.
Yeah.
And I always love that Avenale movements and that feeling that comes with that. And so this person has some experience with that. And Avery Sharp, who plays beautiful music, he's going to compose the music. And
that's fantastic.
So it's
and
sort of got out of hand.
You have a kind of a benchmark date for this, right? This year?
Hopefully, the plan is this fall. The thing is, this 2015, the fall.
Okay.
And just trying to move it that way.
Yeah.
And it's as long as to let it be organic. I don't know what that means, but it's taking its own form, and it has potential to. See, I'm looking at abuse from a medical aspect.
Right.
Because so often we have people dancing, right? And we, about being abused. But I'm looking at it from what happens when you're abused as far as health, obesity, depression, stress, hypertension. All this stuff occur from an environment of abuse and stress.
Yes.
And it's just amazing.
Right.
So I have to look at, so as a physician, it allows me to combine my knowledge as a physician. One of the cases that I started with that always sticks in my mind is this young lady that came to me and trying to get her blood pressure under control. And she had put all this makeup on her face. And I found out that, she worked several days a week, and her husband had told her to get up and iron his shirt for church. And she works, Sunday mornings are only day off. And she laid, just took a little bit more minutes in the bed, and she awakened to the sound, the smell of her skin burning, because he stuck the iron to her face.
Oh, gosh.
So, when I did a newsletter about this, but she said, you can't let him know it. He'll know it's me.
Yeah.
So when you write it, you got to change names, change all this kind of stuff. So.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
So that's TIS. And that's one of the things that pushed me to do TIS. And it's evolved, and it's something that started a long time ago, and it's making its own way. TIS is taking care of herself.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to learning more about, the performance piece that's going to come of it.
I think it'll be fun.
Yeah. There's another initiative that you told me a little about Amazing.
Amazing.
I love that. So tell us about Amazing, and then we may have to close sometime and continue, but go ahead.
Okay.
We have time for this, for sure.
Well, I think voting and all those things, I think it's a part of me that came from my mother.
Yes.
My mother said she remember working in the fields, and the white folks leaving, going away, and waved and said, "We going to vote." And my mother said, "One day I'm going to vote."
Wow.
So much she did was center around the voting. I never realized till later how much of a risk she took. I remember getting up real early, sitting on the bureau and watch my mother get dressed. My mother got dressed really fancy for things that centered around the church and when she went to vote. Because she said, "I want them to know that I'm somebody."
Yeah.
And she was dressed in her church best. And I remember it would be dark outside. She wanted to be there on time, and because she would come back, change her cloak all day long. She would drive people to the polls all day long. And in the backwoods of Georgia, they could kill you for that. So, so I always had that fervor. So this year I did this thing about don't suppress the vote, and I was sort of, I did a card for the radio station in Springfield about voting, and I don't like what people are doing about stopping people from voting. Yeah. I don't like how they tried to destroy the first African-American president. I think that it is unacceptable. I don't think they realize that. They think we're going to forget once Obama is no longer in office, that what they did, when they hit him, they hit us also.
Yeah.
So after the election, I was sort of, oh God.
Now this was which election?
The one that we just, didn't we just have
the-
an election?
Yes, we did. The one, the
It's
off year.
2014?
Yeah, okay.
And I think he's done a lot. He's done a lot, and I feel that they don't really recognize that. So I said, I'm going to do a symposium, and I'm going to do it called Amazing, because I think what Obama has done, I changed amazing to amazing.
Yes.
Because I think the things he has done have been amazing.
Yeah.
So I'm working with Dr. Bracy at FRM. He says that it's something that he would
From
definitely consider.
UMass?
Yep, UMass, and say, I think we should have a symposium on what Obama has done in reference to the economy
Yeah.
and healthcare. Two things that are very important to all of us.
Wonderful.
So that's amazing.
That is amazing. See, that's the thing, the creativity. We're going to talk more in the next segment about some of these other initiatives you've done, but just there's always a piece of it that is inspired and uplifting. It's hard stuff, racism and sexual abuse and all of these things. It's hard stuff, but you do it in a way that is uplifting instead of treading people down even more, you know. Yeah, yeah.
You got it, if you look at the negative can drag you down so much. And I was depressed after the election, so my thing is, that's because you aren't doing, you need to do something positive and you got to move on. So I did Amazing. I'm setting up Amazing.
Well, we're also going to show the painting that you did about suppressing the vote.
Oh,
as
good.
Well. Good.
That'd be great.
We are out of time for this first part, and I want to thank you all for joining us, for going deeper, and we'll see you again in part 2. Thank you.